We've all been knocked down in business, in relationships, in our own minds. You feel like you've lost control, you start doubting yourself, and the pain feels permanent. But here's the truth, the people who rise to the highest are the ones who fall the hardest and learn the hidden power inside that fall. Today, we're going to uncover Tony Robbins' darkest, most powerful lessons about why you feel and how to rise stronger than ever. You know, people ask me all the time, Tony, why do we have to go through so much pain? Why can't life just be smooth? And I tell them, if life were just easy all the time, you'd never grow. Growth doesn't come from comfort. Growth comes from those moments where you feel like the air has been sucked out of your lungs. When everything in you says, I can't take this anymore. That's the moment life is giving you the lesson you were born to learn. Think about it. They don't remember the easy days. You don't build your identity on the sunny afternoons where nothing went wrong. No. The moments that define you are the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the mornings you didn't want to get out of bed, the times when you felt invisible, rejected, broken. That pain, that's your training ground. That's life sharpening you like steel in the fire. I've been there. I've had days where I felt like I was being crushed from the inside out. When I was broke, when I didn't know how I'd pay for my next meal, when I felt like the world was against me, I thought, why me? But here's what I discovered: the pain was not there to punish me. It was there to prepare me, to force me to dig deeper into myself than I ever thought possible. It was life's way of saying, you've been living at 40% of your capacity. Now it's time for 100%. The problem is, most people misinterpret pain. They see it as a signal to stop. They say, it hurts, I guess I'm not meant to do this. But pain is not a stop sign. It's a green light. It's saying, push through here and you'll unlock something extraordinary. When your muscles burn in the gym, that's when they grow. When your mind burns in life, that's when it expands. Here's the real challenge. When you're in pain, your brain looks for an escape. It tells you to quit, to numb it with distractions, to blame someone else, to hide. And if you take that route, you lose the gift hidden inside the pain. See, pain has a very specific purpose. It strips away the lies you've been telling yourself. When life gets easy, you can pretend you're confident, pretend you're disciplined, pretend you're focused. But when it hurts, all the pretending stops. The real you comes to the surface. The truth is, you only know what you're capable of when you're tested. You only discover your strength when something tries to break you. Pain doesn't just teach you what you can endure. It teaches you what you truly value. It forces you to choose. Will you stand up for your dream? Or will you stay on the ground? Will you fight for the life you want? Or will you let this moment define you forever? And I'll tell you something else, the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you, the ones who've built something incredible, they've all walked through pain deeper than you can imagine. But here's the thing, they didn't just survive it, they studied it. They asked, what is this trying to teach me? How can I use this? That's the shift. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what for? Because the pain you're feeling right now, it's not random. It's not meaningless. It's designed to show you parts of yourself you didn't know existed. It's designed to force you to level up. And I know in the moment it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like punishment. But if you can stay with it, if you can breathe through it, if you can see beyond the hurt, one day you'll look back and realize that was the day you became unstoppable. But here's the catch. Pain doesn't automatically make you stronger. It's what you do with it that matters. Some people let pain make them bitter, and others let pain make them better. The difference is in the choice. Are you going to carry like a weight on your back, or are you going to use it as fuel to climb higher? Because pain will not go away on its own. Life will keep bringing you the same lesson in different forms until you finally learn it. And the moment you stop running, the moment you face it head on, the moment you say, I'm not backing down this time, that's when everything changes. That's when the pain becomes your teacher instead of your enemy. And I want you to remember something. Pain may be the loudest voice in your life right now, but it's not the only one. There's another voice underneath it, the voice of strength, the voice of purpose, the voice that knows you're meant for more. And if you can quiet the noise of fear long enough to hear it, you'll realize the pain isn't breaking you, it's building you. Listen to me, your life is not controlled by your circumstances. It's controlled by your state. I've met people who have millions of dollars in the bank, every opportunity you can imagine, and yet they live in constant fear, anxiety, and misery. And I've met others who have almost nothing, who've been through hell, and yet they radiate joy, power, and energy every single day. The difference, it's not the hand they were dealt. It's the state they choose to live in, you see? Most people think their emotions are a reaction to what's happening around them. I'm happy because something good happened. I'm sad because something bad happened. But that's not how it works. Your emotions are a direct result of the state you put yourself in. Your state is the mental, emotional, and physical energy you decide to step into at any given moment. Think about it. When you're in a powerful, resourceful state, you make better decisions, you see solutions faster, you act with confidence. But when you're in a fearful or hopeless state, the same exact problem can feel impossible. Your brain literally filters the world differently depending on your state. The truth is, the quality of your life is the quality of your state. If you can master that, you can master anything. I learned this early in my life when I was struggling just to get by. I had days where I didn't know how I was going to pay rent, how I was going to get food, how I was going to keep going. My circumstances were screaming at me, you're failing, you're stuck, there's no way out. And if I had listened to that, if I had matched my state to those circumstances, I would have gone down a dark path. But instead, I decided to shift my state before the world shifted around me. I didn't wait for good news to feel good. I didn't wait for the problem to disappear before I acted like a problem solver. When you change your state, everything changes. Your posture changes. Your breathing changes. Your voice changes. Your mind starts finding options you couldn't see before. You literally start attracting different outcomes because your energy shifts how you show up. That's why two people can face the exact same challenge, and one will collapse under it while the other uses it as fuel. The trap most people fall into is thinking they have to wait for the circumstances to improve before they can feel empowered. But that's backwards. If you wait for the world to hand you permission to feel strong, you'll be waiting forever. You have to go first. You have to generate that state yourself, and you do it through focus, through movement, through language, through what you choose to believe in that moment. Let me give you an example. Imagine waking up on a Monday morning after a tough weekend. You feel tired, maybe frustrated, maybe unmotivated. Your state is low, so you're already interpreting everything through that lens. The email from your boss feels like criticism. The traffic feels like a personal attack. The opportunity in front of you, you can't even see it. Now imagine instead, you get up, you put on music that fires you up, you move your body, you speak to yourself with certainty. I've got this. Today is mine, nothing's stopping me. Within minutes, your physiology changes, and suddenly that same email is just feedback. That traffic becomes time to strategize, and that opportunity, you spot it instantly. It's not magic, it's state, and you are in control of it. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to wait for the world to give you a reason to feel alive, strong, certain. You can create it anytime you want. The challenge is most people don't practice it. They let their state be determined by whatever random thing happens that day. But the ones who rise, the ones who thrive, they set their state first and then take on the world from that place. Circumstances can be brutal. I'm not saying ignore them. I'm saying don't give them the keys to your emotional home. Because if you let your state be dictated by outside events, you'll always be a victim of something. But if you decide, right here, right now, no matter what's going on, I'm going to live from a powerful state, you take the steering wheel back. This is why you see people achieve incredible turnarounds in their lives without their external situation changing at first. They just decide to feel and act differently. And because they do, they start showing up differently. They start making moves they wouldn't have made before. They start seeing doors that were invisible to them before. The world didn't magically become easier. They just stopped letting it control how they showed up. Your state is your foundation. You can build the most beautiful house in the world, but if the foundation is weak, it's only a matter of time before it collapses. But if your foundation, your state is solid, you can withstand storms that would destroy other people. You can handle rejection, setbacks, uncertainty, and still keep moving forward with intensity. Every day you have a choice. You can wake up and let the circumstances of life dictate your energy, or you can wake up and dictate your energy to life. And the difference between those two choices is the difference between feeling powerless and feeling unstoppable. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is raw power, unshaped, untamed, and waiting for you to decide what to do with it. Most people run from it, hide from it, pretend it's not there. But here's the truth. The people who create extraordinary lives, they don't eliminate fear, they harness it. They take that same energy that could paralyze them and redirect it into action. Think about the last time you were afraid. Your heart was racing, your breath got faster, your muscles tightened. That's not a weakness, that's energy. That's your body flooding you with fuel to do something extraordinary. But if you don't channel it, it turns into anxiety, overthinking, and hesitation. You start picturing everything that could go wrong, and you lock yourself in a mental prison. The problem isn't fear itself, it's the meaning you attach to it. You can see fear as a warning to stop, or you can see it as a signal that you're exactly where you need to be. Fear shows up when you're about to step into the unknown, when you're on the edge of something that matters. And that's why it's a gift. It's proof that you're not playing small anymore. When I was first starting out, I had fears that kept me awake at night. What if I fail? What if people don't take me seriously? What if I'm not good enough? I could have listened to those voices. I could have stayed in my comfort zone. But I realized something. Fear and excitement are almost the exact same feeling in the body. The only difference is the story you tell yourself about it. So I changed the story. When I felt fear, I told myself, this is my body preparing me for something big. This is my edge. This is where I grow. And the moment I started interpreting it that way, fear became fuel. The same energy that could have kept me frozen started pushing me forward. I used it on stage, in business decisions, in moments where the safe choice was to do nothing. And here's the thing, every time I acted in spite of fear, I discovered something. Fear shrinks when you face it, and it multiplies when you avoid it. That means the fastest way to make fear lose its grip is to do the thing it's telling you not to do. Your brain is wired for survival, not success. It will always warn you about risk, because to your brain, risk equals danger. But in today's world, most of the things we fear aren't going to kill us. They're going to challenge us, stretch us, and possibly change our lives forever. The fear of public speaking, the fear of launching that business, the fear of having a tough conversation, these are the very fears that stand between you and the life you want. So the next time you feel that tightness in your chest, that lump in your throat, that voice in your head saying, don't do it, I want you to pause and remember, this is energy. This is life handing you the fuel you need to step up. You can either burn it by standing still, letting it turn into anxiety, or you can burn it by moving forward and using every drop to power your next move. And I'm not telling you it's going to feel comfortable. It won't. But comfort is not the goal. Progress is. Every person you admire has stood exactly where you're standing, staring fear in the face. They didn't wait for it to disappear. They acted with it still pounding in their chest. And because they did, they built a relationship with fear. They learned to respect it, but never to obey it. What's powerful about fear is that it's a compass. The things you fear most are often the things that will expand your life the most if you face them. You fear having that conversation because deep down you know it could change the relationship forever. You fear starting that project because deep down you know it could change your career. Fear doesn't show up randomly. It shows up when something important is on the line. So what if, from this moment forward, you decided to lean into fear instead of backing away? What if every time you felt it, you said to yourself, this is my signal to move. This is my green light. That shift alone could take you from a life of hesitation to a life of momentum. And the more you practice it, the more you realize that fear isn't this giant wall in front of you. It's a doorway. You don't have to wait for courage to act. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. And the beautiful thing is, the more you do that, the more your brain starts to trust you. It learns that fear doesn't have to mean danger. It can mean opportunity. And suddenly, the very thing that used to hold you back becomes the thing that pushes you forward. Fear is always going to be there when you step into something new. But that's the point. It's a sign you're growing. And when you stop seeing it as a chain and start seeing it as a source of fuel, you realize you've had the power all along to turn it into your greatest advantage. Every single moment, you are one decision away from a completely different life. Not a year from now, not when conditions are perfect, not when someone gives you permission right now. And most people don't realize how much power they actually have in this very instant. They think destiny is something written in the stars, something that's fixed, something they have no control over. But the truth is, destiny is written in your daily decisions. Look back at your life. Every major turning point, every moment that changed everything, came down to a decision. Maybe it was the decision to walk away from something that was destroying you. Maybe it was the decision to take a risk when everyone told you it wouldn't work. Maybe it was the decision to finally say enough and take control of your health, your career, your relationships. In that moment, nothing around you had changed yet. The world was the same, but you were different. And because you were different, everything after that moment changed. The danger is that most people think decisions are these big, dramatic events, but they're not. They're small, often invisible choices you make every day. You decide what to focus on. You decide what meaning to attach to what happens to you. You decide what you're going to do about it. Those three decisions shape your entire life, and you make them constantly, whether you realize it or not. I've met people who blame their circumstances, their upbringing, their lack of opportunity for where they are today. But I've also met people who came from worse situations than you can imagine. No resources, no connections, no advantages, and yet they built extraordinary lives because they made different decisions. They didn't decide based on where they were. They decided based on where they wanted to be. And here's the thing. The moment you decide with absolute certainty, you cut off every other possibility. That's literally what the word decision means, to cut off. You burn the boats. You remove the safety net. You stop leaving the back door open. That level of decision creates a shift inside you that nothing else can. Suddenly you're not trying something, you're committing to it. And when you commit, your brain starts finding ways to make it happen. But most people make decisions like they're dipping their toe in the water. They say, I'll try this for a bit and see how it goes. That's not a decision, that's a wish. A real decision is backed by action, by investment, by a willingness to do whatever it takes. When you make a real decision, you don't need to be pushed because the decision itself pulls you forward. There's a moment in every breakthrough where you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop letting fear or doubt have a seat at the table. You decide, this is who I am now. This is what I do. This is where I'm going. And that identity shift is powerful because your brain is wired to act consistently with who you believe you are. If you decide you're a leader, you'll find yourself acting like one. If you decide you're an athlete, you'll start training like one. If you decide you're unstoppable, you'll start moving like it's already true. Sometimes the hardest decision isn't about starting something new. It's about ending something that no longer serves you. It's about walking away from the relationship, the job, the habit, the comfort zone that's keeping you small. And those decisions hurt because they involve loss. But you can't grab onto the next chapter of your life if you're still holding on to the last one. And yes, there's risk. There's always risk, but so is doing nothing. So is letting your life be shaped by indecision. People forget that not deciding is still a decision. It's a decision to stay the same, to let life choose for you. And life will always choose the path of least resistance, unless you step in and choose for yourself. I've watched people make a single decision that instantly changed the trajectory of their lives. The day they decided to finally launch the business. The day they decided to forgive. The day they decided to speak up instead of staying silent. The day they decided to take back control of their health, nothing in their external world shifted in that exact moment, but something inside them transformed. And from that point on, their actions started to match that new decision, and their life followed. You can't control the wind, the weather, the economy, or what other people do. But you can control your choices, and your choices create the conditions you live in tomorrow. And when you start deciding from a place of power instead of fear, from vision instead of limitation, your destiny starts to take shape in ways you never imagined. Life will knock you down. It will test you with pain you didn't think you could survive. It will throw you into circumstances that feel impossible. It will put fear in your path so intense it makes you question yourself. And in every one of those moments, you will face a choice to surrender or to rise. Pain is your greatest teacher, but only if you're willing to listen. Your state is your foundation, and you can choose it no matter what's happening around you. Fear is not a prison, it's pure energy you can turn into momentum. And your decisions right here, right now, are the pen that writes the rest of your life story. The question is not whether you will fall, because you will. The question is, when you do, will you stay down or will you rise with more power, more clarity, and more purpose than you've ever had before? Because in the end, your falls don't define you. What you decide to do after them does.